In today's video, we're talking about the jailhouse call between former 19 Kids and Counting star Joseph Duggar and his wife Kendra, and why this one conversation says a lot more than people might expect at first. This is not just another celebrity scandal where someone makes a phone call from jail. It feels bigger than that, because this call puts the Duggar name, the marriage, and everything the family used to stand for under a very harsh spotlight. Joseph Duggar is no longer the familiar reality TV son people once saw on screen. He's sitting in a jail cell, alone, while the story around him keeps getting heavier. Joseph Duggar was arrested in Arkansas on March 18 after being accused of sexually abusing a 9-year-old girl during a family trip to Florida in 2020. He is now facing child molestation charges in Florida, along with separate charges in Arkansas. Then, just 2 days after that arrest, Joseph made a collect call from the Washington County Detention Facility to Kendra. That call was later obtained and released by outlets including People, E! News, and others. In that call, Joseph tells Kendra he is being held in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day in an 8x10 cell while he waits to be extradited to Florida. He also says he's spending a lot of time reading, and he specifically mentions that jail staff got a Bible in here. And here's where the story gets even more intense. Kendra had also been arrested that same day on 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor and 4 counts of false imprisonment, which are separate from Joseph's Florida case. She was booked into the same facility, later released on bond, and then Joseph called her shortly after she got out. So this is not a simple husband calls wife from jail moment. It's 2 people, both dealing with criminal charges involving children, trying to make sense of their situation in real time.
A released affidavit is revealing more from the case. Investigators say a 14-year-old girl reported multiple incidents of sexual abuse to
What stands out right away is how Joseph talks about jail. He keeps coming back to the same few details: solitary confinement, the small cell, the long hours, the Bible, and the fact that he's not sleeping well. He describes his space as an 8x10 area and says he spends 23 hours of the day there. He also says he's been reading a lot and resting some, but the nights are rough. The way he says it sounds quiet and restrained, almost like he's trying to stay calm, while also making Kendra understand how hard the situation feels. And the Bible mention matters too. Joseph leans into that hard, almost like he's trying to hold on to the version of himself people already know. The soft-spoken Duggar son. The religious one. The man who turns to faith when things fall apart. But the contrast is impossible to ignore. He's talking about prayer and scripture while facing serious charges involving a child in 2 states. That gap between the words and the reality is exactly what makes this call hit so hard. Kendra's voice in the call comes across as soft and caring at first. When Joseph explains what his day looks like, she reacts with sympathy and tells him it's good to hear from him. But even though her tone is gentle, she is also drawing a line. She is not just playing the role of the supportive wife here. She has her own case, her own legal issues, and she is starting to move accordingly. That becomes especially clear when she tells Joseph that the lawyer she hired is not for you, it's only for me. That line says everything. It shows that whatever shared life they have, their legal problems are no longer being handled as one unit.
I know the Lord, okay, because I have my own battles that I'm dealing with.
Yes, so, you have a lot of things you're doing, sweetie.
She also says she has been taken to a good place to stay that's very private, instead of going back to the home she shares with Joseph. That detail might seem small, but it says a lot. It suggests separation, caution, and a need to keep things out of the public eye. On top of that, reporting indicates Kendra agreed to a no-contact order with the alleged victims in her Arkansas case as part of her bond conditions. That means she has to be extremely careful, because even the wrong move could create more legal trouble. So while she sounds calm on the phone, the reality underneath is very different. The system is treating Joseph and Kendra as separate people with separate risks, not as one Duggar family front. One of the most striking parts of the bigger jail call story is what Kendra says about the family response. In another reported call, she tells Joseph that the family is disappointed in him, but still loves him.
But I have to do anything and everything for the kids right now. And for myself. because I'm not well. I got 7 hours the night, no, 6 hours, sorry, 6 hours the night before, and I got a little food in at the end of the day. I went on an ATV drive with, you-know-who, and it was wonderful.
That sounds soft at first, but the word disappointed carries a lot of weight. For a family that built its public image around strict morality, religious discipline, and clean living, hearing that kind of language out loud is a big shift.
Faced a judge in Florida for the very first time. His bond was set to over $500,000 for the 2 charges, including...
It also hits differently for people who grew up watching 19 Kids and Counting or Counting On. Those shows sold a very specific image, a cheerful, obedient, tightly controlled family that seemed to always know exactly what was right. Now the reality is much messier. Josh Duggar's crimes already broke that image apart, and now Joseph is behind bars too, calling home while Kendra is dealing with her own legal issues. So when the family says, "We love you, but we're disappointed," it feels like the Duggar image trying to stay standing even while the ground underneath it keeps shifting. This call is getting attention because it feels personal. You're not just hearing headlines, you're hearing their voices, their pauses, and the way they try to keep the conversation together while everything around them is falling apart. It also raises questions people have been asking about the Duggars for years. How much of the TV version was real? How much was polished, edited, or hidden behind religious language? And how many warning signs were there long before the public ever heard about them? For YouTube viewers, especially people who've followed this family for years or come from similar religious backgrounds, this is more than gossip. It's a glimpse into how a polished public image can collapse under the weight of real life.
Every day is a miracle.
Yeah.
It's a miracle. Trying to focus on the positive. I have a list going of things that I'm thankful for that have happened throughout this process, or even before, the things that we got to do as a family. And,
Yes.
I'm thinking about...
There are a few things worth keeping an eye on from here. How Kendra handles her legal situation going forward, since she already has her own attorney and separate charges. Whether more jail calls come out, because every new recording seems to reveal a little more. How the rest of the Duggar family responds, because so far the public reaction seems to be a mix of disappointment and continued family loyalty. Right now, the picture is pretty stark. Joseph Duggar is in solitary confinement, reading the Bible in a tiny cell, while Kendra sounds calm on the phone, but is clearly dealing with her own legal reality too. And honestly, that says more about where the Duggar story stands in 2026 than any old TLC intro ever could.